Hello everybody. We're going to take a look at Unit 4.6a in WAMAP, Translating Percents and Applications, Translate and Solve. So these are like word problems without too many words. So it's a good place to start analyzing for word problems. Let's take a look at the first two questions. And actually they're really similar, so I'm just going to do one set. We'll do question one, has three parts. So the first one, we're rounding all of our answers to 2 decimals. So keep that in mind when you enter your answers. You have to work it to the thousandths place, work it to 3 decimal places, underline that number in the second decimal column, and then check the number on the immediate right to see if it's 5 or higher. And if it's not, then you leave the number the same. If it is, you have to increment that number by 1. Anyway, let's see how to turn these into math statements. What is 66% of 54? So there are quite a few words we can use, like, for example, what. We're just going to use that word for X. Let's go to the tablet. What is 66% of 54? So what is the same as X? Let me do this in a contrasting color. If I can, let's go with black. All right, what? Basically, you can always translate what as X. What is 66% of is almost always multiplication. 66% of 54. So using these simple rules, considering X and what, or some variable to be what you're asking, and that is the variable, the unknown. And then 66%, do you remember how to convert this to a decimal? Or we can use it as a fraction. So the is here, is or are, this is always an equal sign. So here we have almost everything we need to solve the problem. X equals 66% of, or times, 54. Okay, so we can rewrite this 66% as 66 over 100 times 54, and that's what X is going to be equal to. So we can go ahead and multiply this as a fraction. 66 times 54 divided by 100. That's one way to do it, and you can use your calculator. So go ahead and do that if you like. The other way to do that is to consider the equivalent of 66%, and which is 0.66. So 0.66 times 54 is also equal to X. So let's go ahead and see. Turn your calculator on. My calculator died. It's not getting enough sun. I guess I need to put it on my windowsill, let it recharge. So I'm going to go ahead and do this longhand. 0.66 times 54. 6 times 4 is 24. Carry the 2. 6 times 5 is 30 plus 2 is 32. Put down a 0. 6 times 4 is 24. This is going to be the same number, right? 3, 2, 4. Awesome. So then we add 4 plus 0 is 4, 2 plus 4 is 6, 3 plus 2 is 5, and 3 is equal to itself. And then we have 2 decimal places to look at. So 66% of 54 is 35.64. So X is equal to 35.64. And since this worked out evenly, there's no, this will be our final answer. This answer is already in the hundredths. And the next number would be a 0, so that means that this 4 would not change. But your number should also be in the hundredths, right? Rounding it to 2 decimal places, your answer should be 2 decimal places long. Some mathematicians don't appreciate it when you make your answer more precise than theirs was. Okay, so we'll enter that there for now. We'll check it in a minute. Let's look at the next one. 41 is what percent of 85? So let's use the same translation procedure we just used. 41 is 41. Is our equal sign. What is x? Percent of is times and 85. So if you remember that what is the x and is or are or was or were, those are the equal signs. And then of is usually multiplication. Then you can get this close to what you're doing. So this can be rewritten as 41. Let's do a different color. 41 is equal to x per 100 times 85. So this should be enough for us to solve this. We would still want to solve for x. So that would be our longer term goal. And you could call this 85 over 100 times x because that would be the same. So you can move things around a little bit. So what would you like to do? Let's stop and think about that. I think what I'd like to try here is clearing the fraction, just because fractions always stop us. So these are whole numbers, which means 85 over 1, 41 over 1. So we only have to worry about this 100. So if we were to multiply both sides of this equation, and we have to multiply all the terms by 100. And this is partly a luxury we can afford because we can use the calculators, right? So we multiply each of the terms by 100, and then we can get rid of this fraction. So then we have 4100 is equal to, and 100 times x over 100, the hundreds disappear, leaving x times 8,500, right? And now it's easier for us to solve for x. All we've done is to, in order to eliminate this fraction, we had to multiply this by 100. But in order to keep everything else equal, we had to multiply each term by 100 as well. So now we have, let's rewrite this, different color. 4,100 is equal to 8,500 x, okay? So we have to be able to see that we can rewrite things in equivalent ways. So x times this, let's just write it this way. That's how we're used to doing our math. And then we need to solve for x. So in this case, what's happening to the x? It's being multiplied by 8,500, so we need to divide it by 8,500. And we also have to do that on the other side. So let's find out what x is equal to. So x is going to be equal to, I'm going to rewrite this over here, x is going to be equal to, let's see if my calculator works yet. No. All right, so x will be equal to 4,100 divided by 8,500. So I already know 8,500 won't go into 4,100 evenly. So what I'm going to do is change colors for one thing. This is getting confusing. Let's go with blue. And put a decimal point here and one right above it on the line and add some zeros because maybe 8,500 will go into 41,000. So 8,500 won't go into any of these evenly. So we've got a 0 here on the left of the decimal. And then 8,500 will go into 41,000, not quite 5 times, but maybe 4 times. Let's see if we can do it with 4. So 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 5 is 20. That's a 0 plus 2. 4 times 8 is 32, plus 2 more is 34. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. Borrow 1 from the 4, leaving 3. We have 11 minus 4 is 7. So here we have 7,000. And 7,000. So we're going to, let's swap colors again. Let's add a couple more zeros here. We're going to have to take this out to the third decimal place in order to round to the second. So we'll bring down one of those green zeros. So now we have 70,000. And how many times will 8,500 go into 70,000? So this is similar to saying how many times will 9 go into 70? And so I would guess 7. I'm going to start with 7. So 7. We got a 0. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 5 is 35. Carry the 3. 7 times 8, 56 plus 3 is 59. Let's see if we got close enough. There's 0, 0. And I have to borrow from the 7, leaving 6, 10 here, then borrow 1 to make 9, and 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 9 is 0. 6 minus 5 is 1. So this number is bigger than our divisor. So I didn't guess high enough. This is where having a tablet is handy, because I can just erase those guesses and use my new knowledge to know that, oops, this should go 8 times. So this is where long division can be frustrating, but just it'll strengthen your math skills to do it. So now we have 8 times 0 is 0, and again is 0. 8 times 5 is 40, which is a 0. Carry the 4. 8 times 8, 64. Plus 4 more is 68. Looks like this will work out nicely. 0, 0, 0, 2. 2,000. And let's do that last 0 so we have 3 decimal places to work with. And how many times will 85,000 go into 20,000? Or sorry, how many times will 8,500 go into 20,000? Let me get out of the way here. 8,500 goes into 20,000 twice. And we got 0, 0, 0 for the 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 more is 17. And we end up with 3,000. Okay. So, this is as far as we have to go in terms of precision. So we're looking at our preliminary answer of 0.482, and we can convert to a percent and just call this 48.2%. Let's see how they want us to enter this. What percent of 85? So this is 48.2, and I guess we have to go further with our math. They want each answer rounded to 2 decimals. So we need to go out a little bit further, because this is enter an integer or decimal number. We need a couple more decimal places. Let me see if my let me see if I can calculate this. This video is already 13 minutes long. Let's try this. 4,100 divided by 8,500. All right, I get 48235, 48235, 48235, which means 4824. All right, and then 34 is 16% of what? Let's go to 34, and we're going to rewrite this. 34 equals 0.16, right, times x. So 34 is equal to 0.16x. So what's happening to the x, and how do we solve for it? Well, we ought to be able to divide by 0.16, both sides. And then we'll know what x is. X is equal to 34, let's see, 34 divided by 0.16. And we're dividing by a very small number, so it should make it bigger. So 212.5. Now it looks like it was even. 212.5. So our answer here. And we'll just add a 0 to make it 2 digits long. 212.50. So 34 is, so this, you can see this is roughly 200% is double, and 34, it's over 200%, and 34 is more than double 16. And let's look at this. 41% is what percent of 85? Well, 85 is not quite 100, so 41% of something that's smaller than 100 will be bigger than, it'll produce a bigger number. So this probably correct. And then 66% of 54, well, 66% is 66 per 100, and this is just slightly more than 50. So your answer should be a little bit more than half of 66. So we got 35.64. Let's go ahead and see how we did on these three. Triple Crown. Okay, we got them all three correct. So you can try similar questions. And please set up your questions substituting X for what, equal sign for is, and then see if you can write your percents as decimals and see if you can work those out. If you get stuck, message me and we can work on these together. Good luck.